Hello, my lovelies. This is going to be our shadow work for the week. So we're going to see what are some things that are hidden that maybe we need to acknowledge or some things we need to work on in order to integrate and find some balance. So this first deck is called Conversations with Your Inner Self. It's meant for exactly that. Think about these things if they resonate and kind of where they stem from or what it is that it brings to the surface. What are the triggers? We have safety. What makes you feel safe? Why does this bring you a sense of safety? Title your life book. If you were to write a book about your life, what would the title be and why? I wrote one about myself. Mine is called Stepping Stones to Destiny because it was exactly that. It was all the things that led up to me following my destiny, which is to offer readings for people so that they can hopefully heal the things that are keeping them stuck and to proceed forward. So mine is for sale on Amazon. The link in my bio will take you to that one. I also wrote a second book. It's called The Alabaster Enchantress of New Orleans. That one is completely made up. It is a romance novel that will have a sequel to it. Change. Do you prefer change or do you avoid it and why? The color of. What color is your anxiety and why? All right, let's see. What do we need to know to integrate or to find the balance this week? Child self. If you could speak to your child self, what would you tell them? Emotional release. What activities help you release pent up emotions? Rejection. How have you experienced rejection and how can you show rejected parts of yourself love and acceptance? Emotional triggers. What are common emotional triggers you experience and how can you regulate them in a healthy way? So very good things coming to the surface this week. Love to see it. All right. So again, if any of those resonate for you, work through those. Sit with those emotions. What do they stir up? What are they bringing up for you that might need some either healing or something being resolved? All right. Let's start with our shadow self. Let's see what we need to know. We start with the Hierophant. So interesting place to start. Higher learning, listening to source energy, listening to your intuition, getting in touch with your spirituality, your religious beliefs, things like that. Really, this is a card of growth and transformation in a spiritual sense. So that might be a place that you need to get in touch with. I also feel like you're going through a lot of transformative energy. Collectively, we are, right? We're in the age of Aquarius. That means things are changing for the better, but sometimes it creates a lot of upheaval in order to get there. The Phoenix is symbolic of that energy. The Phoenix is about going through a major transformation. The phoenix is a mythical creature, a bird that is usually burnt to ash, and then as it is a pile of ash, it transforms and it goes through a rebirth and it is born again, renewed, refreshed, a completely different creature. So I feel like that's kind of what's happening collectively to us is that we are going through these changes and transformations. That's really what shadow work's all about. A lot of people view it as something that's scary or painful, but it doesn't always have to be. Shadow work can be something that helps you to grow. It can be painful sometimes, right? When the skeletons in our closet come to the surface and we have to acknowledge all these parts of ourselves that we'd rather bury and forget. But at the same time, when we integrate those parts of ourselves, we're who we're really meant to be. Not all spiritual people are all love and light. Some of us have been through some very dark storms, and as a result, we also are honoring our dark in our light. So we're creating the balance. And I feel like that's how a true light worker is able to help others, is because they've also walked through the darkness and found their way to the light. So it's creating that balance. And part of that requires rest. So if you've been really burnt out, really exhausted, if you're overwhelmed, you're stressed, right? The world's kind of a shit show right now as a whole. So maybe you need some time to rest and recover. Maybe you're also ill or you're going through some sort of recovery. Take that time, rest, relax, and recover because without that, burnout is very real. And that's something that can take a very long time to recover from. Speaking from personal experience, been there, done that. It's not pleasant. So take the time you need to rest. Maybe you need to limit how much you take on during the week. Maybe you need to go to bed earlier so you can get up earlier, things like that. Are you eating enough? Are you drinking enough water? Take good care of your body because you only get one vessel per lifetime, okay? The moon, seeing things for what they truly are. Are you under an illusion? Has there been some deception? Are there secrets that are coming to light? Are there things that you need to process that have been hidden that you need to learn to accept or to integrate? Those all might be things coming to the surface. And I feel like there's been some major ending or disappointment when it comes to love. This could be a long-term relationship or a marriage that ended. There could be imbalances. Maybe you come from a long line of people that their marriages, their relationships were toxic. They were terrible. They didn't work out. You can choose to break that cycle. That's part of shadow work. Seeing a pattern and realizing that's not something that you want for your future. Those are all things that you're able to change should you want to, but you first have to acknowledge them and then you have to come up with a plan of how to start working through them. So I feel like we're looking for balance. I feel like we're looking for things to improve. The Five of Wands, lots of conflict, lots of chaos. Are you struggling with religion and spirituality? Most of us do. We question the things we've been taught. Maybe you feel like certain ones aren't for you. Explore other options. There's many different things you can choose to believe in. Where does it resonate? Does it resonate in your core, at your heart? Do you feel like this is the truth? That's where you go towards. And a lot of times I feel like there's a lot of internal conflict. Sometimes it's external as well. So we need to kind of squash that. There could also be a lot of rivalry or competition somewhere in life. And I also feel like it's keeping you up at night. This transformation, again, like I was saying, not all of it has to be painful. Some of it might be, but ultimately, when you start to really peel the layers back of these problems and these things that we've hidden, you start to see the light coming through the cracks. So it is worth it in the end. You'll stop losing sleep over these things because you're transforming the energy. All right, the Hanged Man. So it is self-imposed. You have the option to set yourself free. You also need to rest. So I feel like that's something that maybe this whole martyrdom or that you self-sacrifice, it's got to stop. It's got to come to an end. You are going to have to make a decision about some sort of deceptive behavior or something that comes to light. You're going to have to decide which direction you want to go. You have to see things for what they are. Face your fears. See reality. Remove the rose-colored glasses. What is the truth of the matter so you can make a clear, logical decision about the future going forward? Without that, we're still in an illusion and we're still trapped by that mentality of we don't know which way to go because we can't see clearly. You can't see the forest through the trees, right? All right, so strength. It does take strength to do shadow work. However, it is worth it. So gather all the courage up. This is something that I feel like you are very capable of defeating any sort of fears or doubts, overcoming obstacles, taming the beast, being the snake whisperer, so to speak. And there's an arrow down here. So whatever setbacks you're facing, know that you are being set up to go forward in a new direction. But sometimes we have to go backwards before we catapult forward in a new direction. I feel like part of that actually is about your love life. So again, with the 10 of Cups in the reverse or in the shadow, it's telling us that we came from a long line of not so great things, right? Maybe we saw a lot of abuse or violence in relationships. Maybe they were toxic. Maybe they were painful. Maybe the only thing we've known out of our love relationships is lies or deception or hurt and pain. And so we wish to break that cycle. You are strong enough to overcome these things, but you have to recognize it's a pattern and then begin to change it. And it is possible. There is forward movement that's coming, things going very quickly once you realize what you want going forward. Travel, relocation, purchasing a vehicle, all of those are possible with the Chariot. And we have the 10 of Swords. Finally saying enough is enough and really releasing all of the negativity, letting go of the past and realizing that we wish to go forward and that we don't wish to stay where we currently are. So pulling the swords out of your own back, going through this painful period to transform and recover and go in a new direction. And we are going towards abundance. So I feel like a lot of positive changes come after healing, but you have to make a conscious choice to do that. The fruits of your labor will pay off. off, whether that's financially or finally finding that you fit into a place where maybe you didn't feel like you ever fit in. And the Emperor. You could be meeting your divine counterpart. This is also a card that would tell us it's time to take some bold strategic moves, but it's a calculated risk. So don't jump in head first without some sort of careful planning, but it's time to take a step in a new direction. So be bold, be brave, and be courageous.